Hello, dear students, and a very good morning to all of you. Today I am here with the second part of the fifth chapter of civics, that is the judiciary. Yesterday I have provided you the first part of this video, and in that we have learned about what is judiciary, and we learned about that the judiciary of India is independent from the other two organs of the government. We have learned about the composition of the judiciary also. We have learned the structure of the judiciary, that in India the judiciary works at two levels, or the judicial system is divided into basically three levels. The first one is Supreme Court, the next is High Courts, and the other is Subordinate Court. In the first part, we have learned about the Supreme Court, okay, the composition of the Supreme Court. Composition means this I have provided you that how many judges should be there in the Supreme Court, that we have learned that the maximum number is 34 and including the Chief Justice, okay. We have also learned that who appointed the Chief Justice, the President. We have learned the other judges of the Supreme Courts are appointed by the Chief Justice, and we have learned the tenure of the Chief Justice, that is of until the retirement, and it is up to 65 years, okay. We have learned that yes, if the Chief Justice is find out not working properly or any unfair means, then he or she should be removed by the procedure of impeachment also. We have learned various jurisdictions of the Supreme Court also. Jurisdiction means what are the powers of the Supreme Courts, okay, which type of legal powers Supreme Court is having. We have learned like original jurisdiction, appellate, advisory, supervisory, court of record, and all these. So all these we have learned in the previous part, and today I am going to provide you the rest of the topics, and the first topic in that will be high courts, okay. So students, this is the fifth chapter, the judiciary, and today I am going to provide you the second part. So let's start the chapter. As I have explained you that the judicial system of India is pyramidal. That means at the top there is a Supreme Court, that is the apex court of India, and below that there are high courts. Now there is only one Supreme Court in India, but there every state of India is having its own high court, or we can say that the high court is the highest court in the state, okay. High court is basically the court of state. But if we will talk about, each high court in India has the jurisdiction of one or more states and union territory. This I want to explain you that earlier we were having only 24 high courts in India, but states are more. So there are some states in India that states share same high courts, okay. Same high court means, so that is why there are some states, like if you will take example of Punjab and Haryana, they are two states but they share the same high court, okay. Like that only there is Guwahati High Court. So northeastern states of India like Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, and all these used to share same high court, that is Guwahati High Court, okay. So I hope it is clear to you that in India union territories also share the high courts of the state. So basically every state and union territory all includes, total there were 24 high courts, but now we are having 25 high courts in India. As you can see, there are 24 high courts in India. Earlier we were having 24, but now one more introduced, that is the High Court of Telangana, okay. Telangana High Court is the new one that is introduced. Earlier it was in Andhra Pradesh only. When it became a state, then one high court is also established there. So now we are having 25 high courts in India. So I hope it is clear to you that high court is the highest court of the state, okay. And in India there are some states that share the same high court. As you can see an example of Bombay High Court. Bombay High Court includes Maharashtra, Goa, Dadar and Nagar Haveli, and Daman and Diu also. If you will talk about Guwahati High Court, it is of it includes the states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Nagaland, and Mizoram. That means the people, those who are living in Mizoram, if they want to go to the High Court, they will go to the Guwahati High Court. If you will talk about where is the High Court of Uttar Pradesh, so it is Allahabad High Court, okay. If we have to appeal or we have to file a case in High Court of Uttar, so where we will file in Allahabad High Court, okay. So it depends upon the residential where the people live. So I hope it is clear to you about the High Court. Now we will learn about the composition of the high courts, okay. If we will talk about the composition of the high courts, same, there will be Chief Justice and other judges also, okay. But here Like in Supreme Court, the number of judges are fixed, that is 34. Okay, but in present we are having 31 judges. But here there is no maximum limit of the judges. Judges can be appointed according to the need of the particular high courts. Like students, there are some states that are sharing same high courts. So in that high court, cases are belongs to different states. So they, it is obviously that there will be more cases, so that is why they need more judges. Like that only, the according to the population of a state, if the population is more, that means there will be crimes or there will be more problems in comparison to the less populated states. So that is why it depends upon the population, or we can say that it depends upon the high courts of the state, that how many total judges would be there in that state. Okay, so basically in high courts also there is a chief justice like Supreme Court, and other judges to assist him. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. Now we will talk about the qualification for appointment as judge of high court. Okay, if you want to become a judge of high court, then what qualifications are needed to you? Okay, so basically you have to be a citizen of India. This is the foremost qualification. It was in Supreme Court also. Okay, now your age should not be more than 62 years. Your age should not be more than 62. That means the retirement age of the judges in High Court is 62 years. In Supreme Court it is 65, but in High Court it is only 62. I hope it is clear to you. Now, held a judicial office for at least 10 years. That means a person should be working under the, as a lawyer, or we can say that as a judge. Okay, if you want to become a judge, then you have to work as a judge either in the subordinate courts, or you have to work as a lawyer. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. Worked as an advocate in a high court, one, two, or more for at least 10 years. That means there should be experience of 10 years as a high court advocate. Okay, then you can become a judge of the high court. I hope it is clear to you. Your age should not be more than 62. You have to be citizen of India, and you at least you have experience of 10 years as a high court advocate. So is it clear to you? And what is in case of Supreme Court? In the case of Supreme Court, what will be your qualifications? You have at least 10 years of experience as an advocate, or 5 years of experience as high court judge. Okay, so once you become the court of high, and one more thing is needed, you have to be in the special juries. Okay, you have done some, you have solved some incredible cases, for that you are known. Okay, so it is like that. Now, appointment of high court judges. How are the high court judges appointed, or by whom they are appointed? So every judge of high court, since high court belongs to state level, so every judge of high court is appointed by the president in consultation with the chief justice of the Supreme Court. So for appointing the judge of the high court also, president is only responsible, but he will take advice from the Supreme Court and the governor of that particular state also. Suppose that there is a need to provide or to appoint judge in Uttar Pradesh. Okay, so the president will also help, the Supreme Court chief justice will also help, and the governor of Uttar Pradesh will also advise. I hope it is clear. In case of appointment of other judges, high court judges, it is done by the president in consultation with the chief justice of Supreme Court, chief justice of that high court, and governor of the state. That means if we have to appoint the chief justice of the high court, then we will, okay, then who will assist or who advise? The president, the Supreme Court chief justice, and the governor of the state. But other, in the appointment of the other judges, the chief justice of the high court will also advise. I hope it is clear. Now we will see how are, as we have seen in the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court judges or the chief justices, their office tenure is permanent. They cannot be removed easily, to maintain the independency of the judicial system. Like that only in high court also, the judges of the chief or the chief justices cannot be removed anyhow. Okay, their working period or their tenure is fixed, that is of 62 years. The high court judges can only be removed after their retirement. But in some cases, if the judge or Supreme Court is found to not guilty, or is found to use unfair means, then he or she can be removed by the process of impeachment. Okay, so same process is used for the removal of the Supreme Court judge also, and for the removal of the High Court judge also. So I hope it is clear to you. Only retirement age is different. In it is 62, and for the Supreme Court it is 65. Now, if we will talk about the powers and jurisdiction of High Court, now we are going to discuss the power and jurisdiction of High Court as we have discussed for the Supreme Court also. Okay, so what is jurisdiction? That is the legal power that is with the Supreme Courts and High Courts to announce the judgment, okay, or to enforce or to carry out any judgment or any law, to check out any laws. So this is only known as jurisdiction. In Supreme Court, we have learned about original jurisdiction, that is with the High Court also. Appellate jurisdictions are same, okay, only some things will be changed. Appellate jurisdiction is also with High Court, advisory, revisory jurisdiction, judicial review, and we have also learned in the Supreme Court about the protection of the fundamental rights. That power is also with the High Court. That I was not able to explain you in the previous part. I told you that I will explain to you about writs in this part. Okay, so I will explain you about writs also. Now first we will discuss about original jurisdiction. So students, original jurisdiction means the cases that cannot be introduced in any other court or in subordinate courts other than the High Court. Okay, the cases that should be introduced in the High Court, that is the original jurisdiction. Original jurisdiction means the power to handle those cases which cannot be moved in any other court other than High Court, that is in the first instance. That means firstly, if someone is going to file cases, so there are some cases that should be filed in the High Court only. So firstly, state revenue and its collection. Whenever there is an issue related to the collection of the taxes of a particular state, for that basis the case is transferred to the High Court. Okay, next is protection of fundamental rights. This we have learned in the previous part also about Supreme Court, that High Court is if I find out that my fundamental rights are being violated, then I should go to the High Court. Either I can go to the Supreme Court, okay, but I can go to the High Court also. Okay, sometimes people used to go to the High Court, then they used to go to the Supreme Court, but we can go directly to the Supreme Court also and directly to the High Court also. Cases related to divorce, will means wasihat, okay, marriage, contempt of court, all these, okay, when a child, we can say that now, whenever there is a matter of divorce or there is a matter of marriage or anything else, illegal things, so that cases goes to the High Court. Interpretation of the Constitution, cases related to interpretation of the Constitution are also handled by the High Court. Now the cases that are related to the judicial review of the state legislatures, those cases are also go to the High Court. Election petition, this I have explained you in class 7. In some cases, if a particular party seems that or feels that the election process was not fair, and if a particular political party wants to request the judicial system that yes, you have to check the process of the election, that how a party can, this party can win. Okay, there is, if the party feels like the election process was unfair, then that particular party files a petition in the High Court. Okay, if state elections are there, then they can file the petition in the High Court. So that is only challenging the elections of MPs, MLAs and local bodies. For that is only known as election petitions. So all these are the original jurisdiction of the High Court. Now we will talk about appellate jurisdiction. Appellate jurisdiction means to appeal, to again request. That is only to appeal. So this I have explained you, that whenever we file a case in the lower courts and the lower court announces the judgment, but if we are not happy with the judgment of the lower courts, then we can go to the higher court. Okay, now if I will file a case in a subordinate court, in a district court, and I am not happy with the judgment of the district court, then I can go to the High Court. That means I can re-appeal, I can appeal in the High Court to check my case again. So that is only known as appellate jurisdiction. That means the power to handle the cases on appeal against the judgment delivered by any district court or subordinate courts. Okay, High Court is having the power to change the judgment of the subordinate courts. Okay, because subordinate courts are under the High Court. That I have explained you, that the judicial system of India is integrated. That means all the three levels are related to each other, and it is like pyramidical. That means subordinate courts are under the High Courts and High Courts are under the Supreme Courts. As I have explained you about the supervisory power of Supreme Court, that Supreme Court is having the power to supervise the subordinate courts and high courts. I hope it is clear to you. Okay. Now, appellate jurisdiction can be in both the matter about the civil cases also and about the criminal cases also. I will explain you criminal and civil case further. Maybe you all are knowing also because we have learned this in class 6th only about civil and criminal cases. Now, the next one is enforcement of fundamental rights. So, students, this power is with Supreme Court also, and this only I have left yesterday. Today, I will cover both together. Okay. So, students, as we are knowing that we are having one fundamental right, that is constitutional remedies. Okay, right against constitutional remedies. In that, we have learned that whenever we feel like or any of the fundamental right is violated, then we can go to either Supreme Court or High Court. Okay, so that for the justice we can go. So there are two articles. One article is Article 32 and the other is Article 226. Article 32 says that if an individual's fundamental right is being violated, then he or she can directly use Article 32 and approach the Supreme Court. I hope it is clear to you. Like that only, Article 226 says if an individual's fundamental right is being violated, then he or she can directly use Article 226 and approach the High Court. I hope it is clear to you. Only there is a difference of article. Article 32 is for the Supreme Court and Article 226 is for the High Court. Now we will see. On the other hand, these articles empowers the Supreme Court also to issue five kinds of writs. WRITS. Okay, these both the articles empowers the Supreme Court and High Court to issue five kinds of writs. Constitutional remedies पढ़ा था, so writs means remedies. There is a solution of the, we can say that if our powers are being violated, then there is a solution for that also. Okay, to protect our fundamental rights. So the Supreme Court and High Court is having the power to issue five kinds of writs. Okay, for protecting our fundamental rights. So that is only because of the feature of Article 32 of the Supreme Court and Article 226 of the Supreme Court. Okay, it is also known as the protector and guarantor of fundamental rights. That means our High Court and Supreme Courts are the protector of our fundamental rights, as we have learned that the right to constitutional remedies is also known as heart and soul of the Indian Constitution, because that fundamental right is having the power to save our other fundamental rights. So I hope it is clear to you. The powers which are vested under Article 32, exactly same powers are also given under Article 226 to High Courts. I hope both the articles are clear to you. Okay. Now we will see what are those five writs. Okay. So those five writs are habeas corpus, mandamus, certiorari, prohibition, and coro warranto. Okay. It is given. Habeas, देखो, High Courts like Supreme Court has power to issue writs like habeas corpus, mandamus, writs of prohibition and writ of certiorari and quo warranto for the enforcement of the fundamental rights. If someone is violating our fundamental rights, then Supreme Court and High Court is having the power to issue these writs. Okay, what is a writ? An order from a judicial authority asking a person to perform or not to perform an act. Okay, this is the power of the Supreme Court to check that how our fundamental rights are being violated. Okay, so let's talk about the first one. The first one is habeas corpus. Okay, students, the meaning of habeas, these all are Latin words. The meaning of habeas corpus is to have a body. Okay, if so, see what happened in this. If the state illegally detained a person, if a state is illegally putting a person or punishing him for any crime, then such an individual by himself or through his relatives or friends can use this writ of habeas corpus for the release of that person. Suppose that you are detained, okay, illegally by a state. So here you can use this habeas corpus, or your family or your friends can, anyone, okay, can use this writ habeas corpus. So whenever we use this writ, Supreme Court or the High Court ask the detaining authority who is putting you in the jail for something, or who is deciding that you are a criminal. So Supreme Court and High Court ask the detaining authority that on what basis the person was detained. If the basis is found to be unreasonable, if you found to be right and the state is wrong and its basis is unreasonable, the detention ends there only, and he or she is to be released with immediate effect. I hope habeas corpus is clear to you. If you have not committed that crime, but for that also you are detained, so in that case, your family, your friends, or you by yourself only ask the Supreme Court for habeas corpus. If habeas corpus is introduced, that means now the authority has to answer to the Supreme Court or High Court that why they have detained you. And if the reason is unreasonable, you will be free. I hope it is clear to you. The next one is mandamus. That means we order to perform a duty. That means we command you. Now, in this writ, you can use this writ on any statutory, non-statutory, university, tribunal, and command them to perform their public duty. If we found out that any state organization, state running organization, or any private organization, or any university, okay, they are not performing their duty well, so in that case the Supreme Court or High Court can use mandamus. That means we order to perform a duty. Okay, we are saying you to perform your duty well. So through this writ, we can command a public official to perform his public duty. I hope it is also clear to you. Now next is certiorari. Okay, what is certiorari? Certiorari means to be certified. That means to be informed of what is going on. So through this writ, Supreme Court and High Court can command the lower courts to submit its record for the review. That means when the lower courts announces their judgment, in that case they can ask for the certiorari. That means they ask that what, according to which you have announces this judgment, we want to review it, we want to check it whether the judgment of lower courts are illegal or not. Okay, they are legal or not, whether they are illegal. If it is found illegal, अगर पाया जाता है कि उनका judgment illegal है, then their judgment will be quashed. What is the meaning of quashed? That means now their judgment has no value, and now that judgment should not be followed. So that is writ of certiorari. Now we will talk about prohibition. Prohibition means होता है we order to stop a duty, or we can say that to forbid, रोक देना, ठीक है. But suppose that the lower court has not, these both are related, prohibition and certiorari are related. If the lower court has not announces its judgment till now, okay, and if you want to prevent the mistake, and if that judgment, if that court wants to prevent its mistake, in that case they can use the writ of prohibition. Okay, the next is quo warranto. That means by what order, by what authority. Suppose that, this you can understand by one example. Suppose that you are going to take admission in any college after 12th, okay? So in that situation, if you are going to take admission in any college, in that you have to qualify any exam, or you have to qualify the merit. On that basis only they will take your admission, okay? But in case you have not qualified any of these, and and that college has taken your admission, and at the time of checking, if it is found that you are illegally admitted to that college, then you have to remove, you will be removed, so you will be removed from that college. So by using this writ, courts can question any public officer, that means any government officer, that by what authority have you assumed this public office, okay? What are your qualifications that you have joined this public office? That means questions to the eligibility of that person. If the officer title is defective, then he has to vacate the office. If it is found that that person is illegally appointed to that position, then he has to vacate. That means he has to leave that office. So all these are the five writs that is for the protection of the fundamental rights of the citizens of India. So if someone asks you what are writs, so writs are the, we can say that, for the protection of the fundamental rights of the citizens of India, that are issued by high courts and Supreme Court. I hope it is clear to you. Now the next power is advisory jurisdiction. This we have learned that for the Supreme Court also, that the President of India can take advice from the Supreme Court. Okay, like that only the governors of the state can take advice from the High Courts on any legal subject. They can take advice. They can take help of the Chief Justices or of the High Court, but they are not bound to follow their advice. Okay, so this is only the advisory jurisdiction. Now we will see the next one, judicial review. As I have explained you that in the Supreme Court we have learned that if the Supreme Court, if the Parliament is issuing any law, so the Supreme Court will check whether the law is constitutional or unconstitutional. If Supreme Court find out this thing that the law is unconstitutional, then it declare that legislative act or law as void, null, मतलब खत्म कर देगा उसको, ठीक है? Like that only High Court is having the power to check the laws issued by the state legislatures. That means Vidhan Sabha and विधान परिषद, ओके? वो जो जो लॉज स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर्स आते हैं उनको चेक कर सकता है हाई कोर्ट. एंड इफ द हाई कोर्ट फाइंड आउट दिस थिंग दैट द लॉज आर अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल, देन व्हाट हैपन? दे विल say that this law is void. They will just remove that law. That law will become zero. Now next power is revisory jurisdiction. That is only the same one, that if the lower subordinate courts, their judgment is checked by the higher courts, their judgment is checked by the high court, okay? So that is only known as revisory jurisdiction. High court is empowered to review any judgment or order made by any subordinate court with the view of removing any mistake or error that might have crept in the judgment or order. This power of high court is known as revisory jurisdiction, okay? The high court is having the power to check the judgments announced by the lower courts, so that maybe there are any mistake or something. So the last decision is with the high court only in the matter of subordinate court and high court. Now we will see court of record. As I have explained you, like Supreme Court, all the cases that are dealt in the Supreme Court, they are written down, they are copied down with the evidences, and whole case is copied down to maintain the records. Like that only, so that those records can be checked by the High Court and the subordinate courts to solve the similar cases. In case of High Court also, each and every cases of the High Courts are also recorded, so that in future reviews or in future cases, if any case seems like that only, so that can be dealt according to the previous cases, or the High Court or the subordinate courts can take help from those cases. So that is only known as court of record. So what you have understood till now, that the powers of the Supreme Court, or we can say that the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court and High Court is approximately same, okay? But only the difference is there that the area of the Supreme Court is very large. That means Supreme Court works for the whole country, and the area of High Court is small, that is limited to the states for which that particular High Court is responsible. Okay, only there are minimal changes in the jurisdiction of the High Court and Supreme Court. Only their areas are limited. Okay, now we will see subordinate codes. So students, here we are going to learn about subordinate codes. Now if we will talk about the subordinate codes, so as we are knowing about that the country is divided into, for the states, okay, for the smooth governance, below that country is divided into local bodies for the smooth governance. So like that only, judicial system is also divided for the subordinate basis. That means every state is having various number of districts, like in Uttar Pradesh also there is Gorakhpur, Devariya, and all these are the districts, and these districts are having their own courts. Okay, so the smaller cases can be dealt here. Okay, so basically the subordinate courts are the courts at the level of district and more lower का मतलब हो गया below the district also. Okay, like न्याय panchayats are there, lok adalats are there, revenue courts are there, all these are under the subordinate courts. Each state is divided into judicial districts. The subordinate judiciary in each district is headed by a district and session judge. Students, in class 6th also, you have learned about the civil cases and the criminal cases. There are some cases that are known to us as criminal cases, and there are some cases that are known to us as civil cases. So in every district, there are two types of court. One is civil court and the other is criminal court. Okay, so the justice of the civil court is district judge. The justice of the civil court is district judge, and the justice, sorry, the chief justice of the, and the head of the criminal cases is session judge. I hope it is clear to you. Okay, so maybe you all have forgot this thing. So basically, see what are criminal and what are civil cases. If we will tell what are civil cases, so basically civil cases are deals with any harm or injury rights of individual. Okay, dispute relating of sale of land, purchase of goods, rent matters, divorce cases. That means very normal cases. Okay, the dispute between two people on the basis of land, on the basis of house, and or divorce cases. Okay, जो थोड़े बड़े हो जाते हैं, that are sent to the under the civil laws. If we'll talk about criminal, that means you have to commit any crime for that. Okay, that means the theft, robbery. If you are that means if you are harassing a woman for dowry, murder, all these are the criminal cases. The criminal cases are deal in the criminal court and civil cases are deal in the civil court. Okay, criminal cases में क्या होता है, पुलिस goes to the particular जहाँ पे भी crime होता है वहाँ पे जाती है, and police used to write the FIR. Okay, in what happened in the civil cases, suppose that your bicycle is stolen by someone, so you will go to the police station for telling the police to write an FIR. So that is a civil case. Okay, but in case of criminal law, you have to, the police will investigate the case by itself only. Like there, this time it many cases where the murders and robberies are involved, big robberies are involved, that are the criminal cases. Okay, and in criminal cases, if you find out to be guilty and accused, you can send to the jail. Okay, and also be fined. And in civil cases, the court gives the specific relief asked for. Suppose that in case between a landlord and a tenant, the court can order the flat to be vacated and pending rent to be paid. Okay, if one person goes to the, if a landlord goes to the police and said that my tenant is not paying me the rent, so this will be solved by mutual understanding. Okay, now court of district judge and court of session judge. If we will talk about the district judge, so it is the highest civil court of the district, and if we will talk about the session court, it is the highest criminal court of the district. Civil cases, it is presided by a district judge, and criminal cases, that is presided by a session judge. Okay, so basically the district judge and additional district judges are appointed by governor. Who, now the question arises, who appointed the district judge and the other judges who works in the civil cases? So basically they are appointed by the governor on the consultation of chief justice of high court. Okay, Now which type of cases are dealt under this one? Civil cases. So in that, land property, marriage, divorce, will, etc. cases are checked. Now district judge also acts as, sometimes one district judge follows the various responsibilities. So it can be deputy commissioner also, and it can be district collector also. This all we have learned in class 6. Now we will talk about the session judge. So the session judge and additional judges are appointed by same governor with the consultation of chief justice. Okay. What they used to handle? Criminal cases like murder, theft, dacoity, pickpocketing, etc. All these are the criminal cases. Okay. Now we will see the next one. Revenue codes. So students, what are revenue codes? Okay, what are revenue codes? Revenue codes, this means हो गया कि if the case is related to not paying the taxes, the case is related to not paying the revenue like land revenue. Okay, so all these are dealt under the revenue codes. Revenue codes are those that hear cases which involve the payment of revenue. If someone is not paying the revenue, so on that behalf cases are filed in the revenue codes. There are revenue courts in every district. Every district has their own revenue courts. They take up cases related to land tax and land records, etc. Okay, and there are various types of court like Tehsildar courts, district subdivisional officers courts. Okay, so it's divided into छोटे-छोटे offices होते हैं where these cases are dealt in. Okay, the highest revenue court in a state is the board of revenue. Please remember it. तो सबसे बड़ा कोर्ट होता है revenue court किसी भी state में, that is board of revenue. Court of the collector. The highest revenue court in a district is the court of the collector. If we will talk about कि सबसे बड़ा court state level पे कौन सा है revenue का, so it will be board of revenue. Or if we will talk about that highest court in a district of revenue court, so that will be court of the collector. Okay, and if you want to appeal, if you are not happy with the judgment of the revenue courts, where you can appeal? You can go to the high court. You can appeal in the high court. Okay, once you are means go to the revenue court and you are not happy with the judgment of revenue court, you cannot appeal to the civil or this one criminal court. You have to go to the high court only. Okay, now let's talk about Lok Adalat. So students, Lok Adalat works on a system of alternative dispute resolution that is known as ADR. Okay, it works on the principle of ADR. Students, in India, since you are knowing that India is a very populated country, okay, and there are lots of problems that people are facing. Many cases are piled up in the courts. Many cases, one court, if you are going to file a court, the announcement or the case will be final in 2-3 years. Very long time it takes. So they decided, or judges or the judicial system has decided to introduce these Lok Adalats. Okay, so the normal cases that can be dealt with the mutual understanding, that can be solved in these Lok Adalats. Okay, basically these are not those type of regular courts. They are normal one. Lok Adalats, that means the Adalat that are dealt by the people only. So it is also known as people's court. Okay. Now, these are usually presided over by retired judges, social activists, or other members of the legal profession. Okay, the people, those who are having the knowledge of laws, they only used to preside it. Like retired judges hai, social reformers, social workers, वगैरह hai, they used to announce the judgment here. Okay, the Lok Adalat can deal with all civil cases, matrimonial disputes. If two husband and wife के बीच में नहीं पट रही है, then they can go to the Lok Adalats. Land disputes, normal land disputes can be solved in the Lok Adalats. Okay, partition, बंटवारे का matter है, property matter, all these are solved in these Lok Adalats. Why people go to the Lok Adalat? Because it is fast. Here the cases, the judgments are announced very fast. They are very cheap. Okay, and they basically focus on compromise. Here no one is getting the punishment. Okay, mutual coordination, mutual compromise पे judgment depend करता है. Now, the decision of Lok Adalat is considered as the decision of a civil court. If a Lok Adalat is announcing its judgment, that means it is equal to the civil court. Okay. Cases are handled informally involving both the parties, and disputes are settled in a spirit of harmony and compromise. Basically, समझौता कराते हैं. Okay. Those cases that have not been handled by any other court are handled by Lok Adalats. Okay, the cases that are very normal, that can be solved very easily, that are only goes to the Lok Adalats, where both the parties are ready for mutual compromise. Those cases goes to the Lok Adalat. Justice P.N. Bhagwati, Lok Adalats were set up in 1897. Okay, Lok Adalats were basically set up in 1897. Why Lok Adalats were set up? It was set to provide legal help and quick justice to those who can't afford expensive fees of lawyers and expenses of legal proceedings. I hope it is clear to you. In the previous part, I have explained you that the process is very expensive and the illiterate peoples are not knowing that much. For that only PIL is there, public interest litigations are there. Okay, other peoples file the cases on behalf of the weak section of the society. Now we will see workings of adalats. Okay, so basically, as I have explained you, the retired judges, the social workers, they only work as a judgment वही सुनाते हैं. The judges of Lok Adalats are actually counselors. They used to solve the matter by mutual compromise. The first Lok Adalat was held at Junagadh in Gujarat on March 14, 1982. This is important. First Lok Adalat was held at Junagadh in Gujarat. Now, what are the advantages of Lok Adalats? As we have learned that they give quick and speedy judgment. So, Lok Adalats work in the spirit of harmony, that means mutual coordination, mutual compromise, and understanding. Hence, both the parties feel satisfied, so both became happy. Both the parties became happy. They deliver fast and inexpensive justice, very less money or no money they have to provide. Reduce the workload of other judges. Lok adalats are established so that the workload of the other judges courts can be reduced. This reduces the delays in higher courts. Okay, Lok adalats promote social justice by providing legal aid to weaker section of the society. The people, those who are not able to go to the court, that means the weakest section of the society, they go to the Lok adalats. So I hope it is clear to you. Now we will talk about Nyaya Panchayats. About Nyaya Panchayats also we have learned in the previous part. Sorry, we have learned in the previous class. In sixth class only we have learned Nyaya Panchayats. That means the panchayats that are held in the villages. Though villages are not very large, so sometimes 4 5 villages have one Nyaya Panchayat, or sometimes if a village is very large, then only one village will have Nyaya Panchayats. Nyaya Panchayats, usually we can say that it is a mini court. It is a village level court. It is also known as mini court. They used to solve minor cases of the villages like theft, quarrel. Okay, all these cases are solved in the Nyaya Panchayat. They are basically the part of the Panchayati Raj system. Okay, they work at the village level. There are some panchayats, the punches. As you can see in the picture, they used to solve the cases by discussions, by knowing the reasons, by knowing the problems of the people. So basically, they are elected by these punches are elected by the Gram Panchayat. What is the work of the Nyaya Panchayat? To provide cheap and speedy justice. They only solve the normal cases, civil and basically the civil cases only. Okay, they are not allowed to send you to the jail. The Nyaya Panchayat will not send you to the jail. They will only impose smaller or very less fines on you. Okay, so this is, please remember, Nyaya Panchayats cannot send a person to a jail. Villagers are allowed to approach to the district or high court if both the parties are not satisfied of the panchayat's judgment. If a person is not happy with the judgment of the panchayat, they can go to the high court or the district court. So I hope it is clear to you. The member of Nyaya Panchayats are elected by the Gram Panchayat. As you are knowing, one is Sarpanch and all these things are there. So I hope this chapter is clear to you. I don't think so any confusion is left now. I have explained the whole chapter and I have covered all the topics. So I hope the chapter is clear to you. Please watch the video, read the chapter, fill your book exercise and prepare this chapter well. Thank you, students.